During the pandemic, many companies and corporations had to transition all their normal face-to-face meetings to online meetings through Zoom or Skype. This is also the same for cross-cultural negotiations, which usually encounter face-to-face across the world. Studies have shown that online negotiations are more likely to impasse than face-to-face negotiations. And just to give you a better idea, an estimated 50% of negotiations that occur through email end in an impasse, but only 19% of face-to-face negotiations end in an impasse. That says something. There has to be something missing in meeting online. A big factor that plays a role in communication has to do with nonverbals. It is estimated that 60 to 90% of communication is made up of nonverbals, which has affected the way negotiations are conducted and even the end result overall, deciding an impasse or not. You are left handicapped to read the other person, and a large part of communication suffers. Ultimately, more variables can go wrong than right when dealing with virtual negotiations. For that reason, I do not believe virtual negotiations are more effective than the face-to-face ones. This problem is not only found in negotiations, however, but can be applied to interviews and meetings as well. Knowing how to adapt and change can set you apart from the rest of the other people that may be applying for that job, or the other person presenting an idea that could be the next multi-million-dollar idea. You never know. And it could all go south just because it's online and they didn't get your message correctly. Now let's go over some possible solutions that can help you better your effectiveness in communicating in this online environment. The solution is to focus on nonverbals that are available, and for you to make sure that the other person is understanding you and you understand the other person. So stuff like eye contact, tone of voice, and even asking questions can make a big difference. Each nonverbal plays an essential role into how the message is encoded and then decoded by the other individual. Although online negotiation may bring benefits to time, in the sense that it's way more accessible from wherever you are, almost all other parts of nonverbal communication suffers very drastically. Understanding what makes up nonverbals and how they are inhibited is the first step to solving the problem. And there are 7 parts to nonverbals, and they are kinesics, number 1, which is body movement, facial expressions, eye contact. Number 2 would be proxemics, the distance between two individuals. Number 3 would be personal appearance, how someone is dressed, how they look, how their hair is done. Number 4 would be haptics, which is touch. Number 5, chronemics, which is time. Number 6, physical environment, which is the setting, everything around you. Could be objects, could be other people talking, and it could be the temperature. In vocalics, the final one is volume and pace in which someone is talking. Now, when conducting an online negotiation, both individuals have different environments in online setting. This allows for more possibility in noise, which can just disrupt the overall conversation's message and flow, which has to do with the physical environment. People also can't get a fully accurate read on people's body movements, since all you see is either from the shoulders up or from the waist up if you're a little luckier. It makes it harder to trust an individual and build a close relationship when you can't get that accurate read, and where communication suffers, which is kinesics. The ability to shake hands and get that personal touch is now lost as well, since you never know how far the person actually is from you. They could be on the opposite side of the world. Haptics, proxemics. That can be a big part of why there's a higher rate of impasses in online negotiations, specifically email. At least when you're communicating through Zoom and all that, you could kind of get a feel for them. Ultimately, more variables can go wrong than right when dealing with virtual negotiations. For that reason, I do not believe virtual negotiation can be more effective than face-to-face negotiations. Imagine if I conducted this video looking away from the camera, talking slow and depressed. I could be shaking around, but if my legs are moving, you wouldn't see that right now. Again, that would show nervousness that you would get in a face-to-face meeting, but not in a virtual meeting. And just simple stuff can ruin the overall quality of the message, since we are just trained to look for those nonverbals. Small things like this can make a difference to success and failure in whatever career path you may be doing, whatever you're pursuing. Learning to adapt to the environment can be the difference to bump up your sales, to get your bonus, that security of your next job, that investment you need for your company idea. You just never know. In a tough pandemic economy, opportunities are very, very limited, and now you have to make the most of those opportunities, which leaves very little room for error. Now, let's just recap what I went through, because I want to make sure you guys go out and succeed in this new environment. Online negotiations make it way more challenging to read an individual. Due to the loss of nonverbals, it allows for more miscommunication, which makes it more challenging to encode the message and make sure the other person receives it as you intend it. Making sure you understand by asking questions and emphasizing the importance of the nonverbals that are available can be the difference between success and failure. And I just want to inform you guys and just bring you aware to this, since this environment is changing and we don't know where it's gonna go. And thanks for your time.